Hi guys, we're back. Caitlin Woolery, clinical herbalist. My name's Jamie Lee, intuitive lifestyle. I want to go over a few topics with Caitlin, some things that I really want to get this information out there, but also I want to know too, like that, how this really works from an herbalist perspective and from her brain, because it's just packed full of ancient knowledge and like legit just knowledge on how to heal anything. So today I want to ask her, I want to pick her brain about moles and what they really are. Why are we seeing moles on our bodies? Why are they just appearing? I want to talk about RSV and viruses for our kids. And should we be terrified? What can we do about that? What not to do? We're also going to talk about diabetes and what that really is. What is that really? And you guys are going to be absolutely shocked. Okay, and gallbladder removal. So without further ado, let's talk about moles. Why do they just appear? What actually are they? Like these things that, just start appearing on the body, and they're, not symmetrical. Is that the right word? How I said that? Okay.
Yeah.
All of those things. Why am I just getting these little beauty marks? That's probably really sick. It's probably really sick and twisted. That's the name that they give them. Am I right?
Everything is inverted these days. So, yep, I would say it's funny. Okay, so moles first. Hi, everybody. Moles. So, in holistic theory, anytime, and this goes all the way back to the old herbal doctors, anytime there is a mass in the body, it is considered a sign of toxic burden. And it's actually an intelligent mechanism of the body. So anything, moles, cysts, tumors, fibroids, the C word. Yep, exactly. So what this is it is the body doing its intelligent, beautiful, brilliant thing that nature designed it to do. When there is a state of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is basically that the body has more toxins and more free radicals in it than it can successfully flush through the elimination pathways of detox in the body. So the burden is exceeding the body's ability to flush and detox. Now, when that happens, these toxins have to go somewhere. So the body will either store them away from the digestive vital organs into the extremities, the joints, which is when you start to see arthritis, or it will create little sacs, moles, cysts, tumors, and the toxins will get directed into that area and it'll store them like a sac. We don't ever want to burst it with a needle. In histology, like, they do biopsies. We don't want to burst those things and let the toxins go. And we don't want to cut that thing out. What we want to do is detox. And so as far as moles go, you'll notice like a lot of people's, they'll get smaller and bigger based on the lifestyle, or if they're under stress, it's because that thing is a sac that's holding toxins and responding to the stress response. So really it comes down to detox, flushing and detox and cleansing the lymphatic waterways of the body. Blood root paste, which is, I'm in a war right now with Etsy. They have taken down my blood root paste 3 times. They don't want people knowing, but there are solutions and things you can put on the body, escharotic herbs that will eat through that mole successfully by activating the immune system. And whether it's benign or malignant, it will not come back, and it's 100% guaranteed that it works.
Fall right off. I've seen, yeah. Yep.
Pop right out, leave a little hole fills in with healthy tissue, good to go. There are not many herbalists that know how to use it these days. And every time I post it, the powers that be take it down. So that just shows you how effective it is. But diet and blood root paste.
Okay, so if we're getting moles, if we're getting all these beauty marks that shouldn't be there, that are just coming in with age, it's actually you have a heavy toxic load and you're taking in way too many toxins. You have oxidative stress.
Boom.
Thank you. On to RSV in children.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about that. There's a lot of fear mongering. Everybody's talking about RSV. Everybody's afraid of RSV. First of all, okay, so you have to tell us what is it really, because I know that there's something beneath that.
Yeah.
but I also want to ask you, is our children who are getting RSV, this is my own intuition, have heavy toxic loads?
Mhm.
Are those the children that are more prone to having these breathing issues and this illness?
Mhm. This is, I'm like, how deep are we going with this? Like, should I just speak like real openly here
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
okay.
Because you're going to go into some spiritual shit right now.
And conspiratorial too. I'll keep it, how about really just super brief?
Let's do that and we'll take a deep dive in
Okay.
some other time. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So there are two theories of viruses, and how pathogens affect the body. The first, and this is the oldest, is terrain theory. And now the AMA has implemented contagion theory. And the entire Western medical system exists on contagion theory. That's why they can sell so many things like Tamiflu and antibiotics and Z-Packs and all the rest. And
Wear a mask.
the
If you're,
masks, the vacations into the
yeah.
arms, all this is based off of contagion theory. When this happened, the Rockefellers hired someone named Louis Pasteur to promote contagion theory and to shut down all the ancient herbal doctors who healed and the humanity that thrived on terrain theory. Terrain theory says the body has a symbiotic relationship with all pathogens, good or bad, and that our internal environment, our internal fish tank, is what determines whether or not we have a response to a microbe. If we are weak, if we are sick, if we are toxic, we are going to respond to all kinds of pathogens. If we are strong, we're not. Contagion theory and the Western model says you have no power. The terrain doesn't matter at all. We're all floating around and could be a victim at any moment in time to this invisible fucking boogeyman that can come in, that can come in and like take over the host, and you better go to the doctor and you better suppress that fever and you better take these drugs because it is scary and you don't know what can happen. So it's empowering. Now that said, there's a lot of really, really brilliant doctors who do not believe in viruses. They believe that actually that they exist, but that they're not floating around infecting our cells, that actually virus is the result of something called exosome theory, which means that anytime our body needs to detox, anytime the stress load is higher than we can flush out, the body will go into a spontaneous detox to protect itself, and the virus comes out of the cell as a result of that detox, intracellular detox. And so what looks like a flu or a cold is nothing but the stress loads got too high, the toxic burdens got too high, we need to flush and purge. So you're going down, your snot's going to run, you're going to puke, you're going to poop, have diarrhea, and that's going to be your detox process. Most people think in that moment is when we need to take the Western drugs. We can't handle that. We can't handle that. So what we need to actually do in those moments is support the detox process. So if your child has RSV, they just turned on 5G. We don't really know what COVID even actually is. We don't. The testing is all messed up. That's never been isolated. That is a nightmare of a psyop situation, in my opinion.
Be careful because YouTube will take it down.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll stop there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Let's do that in like a Telegram kind of thing.
Okay. Fair enough. So rein it in. So let's just consider in a nutshell that if your child is in a state of needing to detox, which happens all the time, especially during growth spurts, it is important that a child release toxins and get sick. This is not a bad thing to get sick. It's a brilliant mechanism.
Die-off symptoms, right? We need to walk these moms through this. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Get the toxins out. Allow the body to do what it's genetically supposed to do.
I can't wait till the next time I get sick, because I know that I'm going to come out of that illness. I'm going to walk through it with grace and without fear. And I'm going to come out of it upgraded because I'm going to be cleansed. And it's a biological thing that is for life. And it's been turned on us to be this fear mongering thing. And we have to, it's big time program overhaul with this.
Wow.
So thank you, RSV. Wow, my baby is really detoxing right now. This is so exciting. It looks like the child's suffering, but have you ever seen a snake shed its skin? It's bloody. They're ripping through sticks in the forest, and it looks like the snake is suffering, but the rebirth of that process is worth every second. So let the child go through that, knowing that the flip side of it is going to be amazing for your kid. This is called wisdom right here. This is where we need to tap back into the wisdom that we have been severed from. So that said, the herbs, did you have any more questions on that, or do you want me to go into solutions?
The herbs for breathing and things like that.
I am not a homeopath. To be actually practiced in homeopathy, you have to go like 4 years and get classical training, but I can give, because kids respond so well to the vibrational medicines, I did write down based on my little awareness and knowledge. And so I'll read through them right now. These are specific for RSV. So cuprum, 6C or 9C is for spasmodic cough. Arsenicum album, any dilution would be for wheezing, if there's wheezing during the process, because symptoms can show up slightly different. Oscillico, so that's a generic one for cold and flu, will be supportive in general. Nux vomica, nasal blockage specifically, and you can use all of these together. Calibicromium, so sinus and congestion if it's painful around the eyes. Bryonia, painful dry cough. And belladonna would be for high fever. So,
and where can they get these?
I would only do boron. Boron is the brand, and any boron. So you can get them through. I would hate to promote Amazon, but you can. But health food store, Whole Foods will have them. Your local health food store would have them. Yeah. So, and then here's my specialty in terms of the herbs and the supplements. I just wanted to give the homeopathic option. But in terms of herbs and supplements, so serapeptase, enzyme therapy, this is something that's totally underutilized and so powerful. When you take it, so first of all, an enzyme's job is to catalyze something. They're really, really good at breaking things down. So they catalyze actions in the body, but they break down things that shouldn't be there. Blockages in the intestines, inflammation, congestion, fibrogen in the blood, like from the vacations and the shots. So enzymes, if you take them with food, it will break down the food. If you take them on an empty stomach, this is called proteolytic use. Empty stomach, those enzymes will go into the body and they will find an area, they target an organ or an area of the body, and they will break down congestion and inflammation. So specific to the lungs and to this area of the body and sinuses is serapeptase enzyme. So it's in a capsule, break it up, mix it with water, syringe it down, especially first thing in the morning, and the window where there's least amount of food 3 or 4 times a day. And the serapeptase is going to go in and do serious work on that congestion and inflammation in the lungs. Yeah, enzyme therapy is radical. It's so amazing. So in terms of herbs, the first one would be lomatium. Do it as a tincture, no glycerin. It has to be alcohol extract. And yes, your kid will be fine with the alcohol extract. You can put it with a little bit of honey or a little bit of juice or just a little bit of water and syringe down. So lomatium, only buy from a local herbalist, Gaia or Herb Farm. A lot of them on the market don't know what they're doing. You want to make sure you go, if you're going to deliver medicine, it needs to be true medicine. Sorry, 1 second. My computer got unplugged.
Oh, it's okay.
So lomatium is an herb that enters the meridian of the lungs, and it's antiviral and antibacterial. So it's going to go in and clean up the debris. At the same time, it's going to clear phlegm and clear congestion, and warm the body up so that it can expectorate and expel. Mullein has a really beautiful, this would be made into a tea. So mullein leaf tea with a little bit of honey. Your kids will probably drink it because it tastes lighter and good. Mullein will create an environment with perfect fluid metabolism in the interstitial tissues. So if there's too much congestion, it will expel that up. It's expectorating. And if there is too little fluid, it will coat and moist to heal any dry, unproductive or painful cough. So that would be made into a tea. Tinctures are relatively impotent. So mullein tea, lomatium tincture. Lobelia is incredibly powerful. So lobelia would be in the form of a tincture. This is a poisonous plant. Difference between poison and medicine is the dose. So 5 drops only of lobelia fresh seed tincture. And what that will do, it enhances the VO2 breathing capacity by 40% within 10 minutes. So if there's like a, and they're not getting air, or if there's a congested, tight situation going on in the lungs, lobelia is a relaxant herb. So it's going to, through the vagus nerve and through the parasympathetic nervous system, it's going to go, hey, everything's okay. And it's going to open the passageways and relax them. It'll stop an asthma attack in its tracks. It's very, very powerful. 5 drops only, about 3 times a day for the lobelia. And then I had a list of, NAC. My last one. Everybody knows NAC at this point. So that will dry the lungs and the nasals out. So if you can't take it really long term, because it does have that drying effect, people can even start getting bloody noses from it. But in acute short situations, 3 weeks at a time, or during the detox flu, NAC dosed up to 600 milligrams a day will really dry things out and help the detox pathways too. So if you combine NAC with milk thistle from Gaia, you just pop the milk thistle out of the Gaia capsule, and it is this gel, it goes under the tongue, and that'll pump the liver and the detox pathway to get those toxins moving through faster.
Wow, that's fantastic. So it's just a detox mechanism that the body's using, essentially, get all this stuff out.
Yep, detox, and then the lung herbs to support that organ function, and you'll be good to go. Yeah.
Wow. Do you think that the heavy metal detox would help?
Totally.
Oh, okay.
Because
usually, okay.
So what were you going to say?
Well, usually when kids get the die-off symptoms, we kind of slow down the heavy metal detox. Do you know what I mean? To let their body like do its job and start healing. Do you know what I mean? Would you recommend them continuing?
Well, how it would depend on if the child has already been stabilized on that product and they're used to taking it. If they just started and they're building,
but it's when they're just starting and they're kind of their bodies. Yeah, we slow down at that point.
Then
okay. Just wanting to make sure. I mean, my intuition. I kind of been doing this a long time, but just wanting to get your opinion on that.
Yeah,
for sure.
The zeolites don't just pick up toxins, right? They scavenge any, is it negative or positive ion?
Positively charged synthetics, molds, microplastics, radiation.
So cool.
All of that. It's antiviral as well. All that nasty stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be an awesome support during the flu. I think if the kid is stable.
If they've already detoxed already from the heavy metals initially, kind of, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Well, that's great. We'll put that in our toolkit then for kids who do get the flu. All that. Okay. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for that wealth of knowledge. All right, so let's move on to this topic that I really, really, really am excited to talk about, and it's diabetes and what that actually is. Can we really talk about that? What is that?
Okay, so first, there's so many insulin and glucose metabolism is so complex. Was there a certain area? I feel like you have a fire for this topic right now, and I'm curious, share with me, what exact area of it that you were particularly interested in.
Okay, so diabetes and the type of diabetes that is actually caused by the parasite called the liver fluke. Parasites living in the pancreas, living in the liver, in the bile duct, all of those things that are throwing insulin, all of that stuff off.
So fascinating. Okay. So, all right. So to address that, people need to understand what organs are first involved in blood sugar metabolism. So we have the triangle. liver, pancreas, adrenal glands. And so
Right.
there's this quite complex physiological interplay where the adrenals are releasing certain hormones, adrenaline, norepinephrine, and those signal to break down and release glycogen to the liver. So the liver's storing blood sugar or sugar in the form of complex chains. Is glycogen the right word? Glycogen. Yeah, it's glycogen in the liver. And so then the pancreas is releasing the insulin. So all those organs are playing off of each other. They're reading the system. Do we have, and what are the glucose levels? Does the brain need more? What's the energy output? And so those three have to be functioning together. If your organ, the liver, is hijacked by liver flukes, I mean, those things can burrow in there, and there can be like 30 to 60 of them that have completely taken over and stagnated that liver pathway. So its function in terms of taking in glucose and storing it in more complex forms of glycogen, and then knowing when to release it. I didn't even realize that liver or that flukes could go into the pancreas. That's pretty mind-blowing. I know that they can travel all over the body and even like be up in the brain and hiding in the red blood cells, but liver flukes going in the pancreas too. I mean, that's so interesting because then you have the pancreas as responsible. A lot of times when the gallbladder backs up, the pancreas is the root cause of that. So yeah, it's just a hijacking, the parasites hijacking the system. So I think parasites are honestly at the core of most diseases at this point.
Most of them. Thank you for making that so you just painted that picture that made me really, really understand that and see like how that actually is happening because just understanding that it is the liver fluke parasite and me having experience with liver flukes and passing so many of them and it being such a bee to get rid of those. And then these people who are just not understanding it's a parasite infection that's really a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times causing the issues with the blood sugar and the diabetes and everything like that.
There's another piece of this too, which is really interesting because sugar. So if you think about why the liver and pancreas would be favorable organs to go in and infiltrate in order to take over the host, if you can disrupt the cellular metabolism so insulin, if you think about a cell, insulin is key in opening up that cell so that the glucose can enter in. And that is the interplay. So nutrients get into the cell, the glucose gets in, turns into ATP energy, and then the waste of that gets kicked out. And insulin is key. Insulin is key for that process. So a lot of times parasites will come into the system when there is a blood sugar disruption, either feeding too much glucose causing or metabolic waste that can't get processed out. Those parasites and candida will come in and eat up the excess glucose, eat up the excess waste, which is great. It actually serves us at first until they start to infiltrate and take over the host. So they're feeding on that glucose dysregulation and the inability of the cell to properly take in and excrete out nutrients and waste. So it makes sense to me that they would hijack organs that are associated with glucose metabolism.
Sure. That makes sense. So a parasite flush is really, really important. Black seed oil is amazing as well for diabetes, regulating blood sugar. Isn't black seed oil a form of a parasite cleanser? Natural, not cleanser, but anti-parasitic?
I wouldn't consider it a true anti-helminthic herb or substance, but supportive. It will really shine in terms of the fatty lipid bilayer, the membrane of the cell, the integrity of it and how well it's functioning to let things in and out, even toxins. Black seed oil will make that so strong, but a true anti-parasitic, I mean, the FLCCA or whoever those doctors alliance are that were promoting Ivor, I don't know if I can say the word, but they did write on their website that black seed oil could be a substitute and Ivor is an anti-parasitic. So
Yep. Okay. All right, cool. All right, moving on to our last topic, which is gallbladder removal. What is really going on that we need our gallbladder removed and should we remove it?
Never.
Never. No, it's like the worst thing. It's really bad for you to do that.
Yeah, it's one of those trends that just is so barbaric and unnecessary. So basically what's happening in a super quick nutshell is that the liver is producing bile and it's dripping down the duct and it's stored into the gallbladder. Bile is then released when fats are eaten. And so the bile is the ultimate emulsifier to break down the fatty acids. In the fats are the fat soluble vitamins A, D, especially particular to those for immunity. So when the gallbladder, well, first of all, why would the gallbladder need to be removed? It's because there's a state of stagnation in the person's gallbladder. So what should be technically flowing, flow, store, release, flow, store, release, appropriately gets backed up because the person is eating the wrong fats. Their diet is stagnating. So they're eating, trans fatty acids, hydrogenated oils, vegetable oils. Fats should be unrefined coconut oil, olives, nuts, olive oil that's not been heated too high, ghee, and unpasteurized raw butter. If you stick with those basic fats, your gallbladder is going to be right on point. So it's the diet, the fats, the improper fats that cause that stagnation in the biliary tree pathway. Then you get the stones. Western medicine doesn't have solutions for curing the stones. What will cure the stones? Malic acid from apples. So you could go on a fast drinking raw apple juice that you have juiced at home. Apples have malic acid, which completely softens up and dissolves those stones, and they'll pass right through. Like without fail, that will save someone from, I shouldn't say that because there's always contingencies. Most of the time, it will save someone from in an extreme situation who's about to need a flush. The malic acid in raw apple cider vinegar will do that, the same thing that apple juice does on steroids. Bile salts, Jarrow makes an incredible one. Bile salts will function the gallbladder and make it break down. Ox bile supplements will do that. And leafy greens, beets and carrots cooked. We'll do all three of those things cooked. We'll do wonders for that pathway. So there's really no need. Oh, and in terms of herbs, wild yam will soften and help the stones come out too. So there's really never a need for surgery because it's so fixable based on diet and lifestyle.
So frustrating. That's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. And then the consequences of what people go through when it's gone is that the liver will have to take over the job of the gallbladder. So the liver will make the bile, as the duct is bigger. So the bile will just do this constant drip out.
Oh no.
Constant drip. And so bile, this is really important to understand for kids who are constipated, is that the bile is controlling the texture of stool and the peristalsis movement of the colon. So if bile is constantly dripping out of the liver because there's no gallbladder, that means that the stool is going to become soft and the person is going to have urgent diarrhea, like they call it dumping syndrome, where they can't control their bowels anymore and just diarrhea release at any moment in time. And it's horrifying for these people. So they have issues with the bowels. Now, the thyroid hormones also respond. Bile converts T4 into the active form of thyroid hormone T3. So the next thing down the line for most people, especially women that have their gallbladders removed, is that their thyroids go hypo. And then they're going to be on levothyroxine or have the thyroid removed. And so there's that backlog. And then you can't metabolize the fat soluble vitamins well anymore. So the immune system suffers next, and it ends up, it's like, that's how the cycle works with that system of medicine. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. It's depressing.
Yes, it is very depressing, but thank you for giving us solutions. Okay. Well, I think that was enough information. I think that was really good. I think that we, I like to pack all different kind of topics in one video. So I think you did an amazing job, and thank you so much. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, you want to say your website again? I say it's Veritas, but I have like this accent. I have this different accent than you.
Veritas. I like that. It sounds like Hispanic.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Veritas. I like it.
Yeah.
Like Veritas.
Yeah.
Veritas, Veritas, botanicals.com. And my name is Caitlin Woolery on Facebook, CaitlinWoolery.
And real quick, your fever breaker is in my link tree for anybody who wants support to help their children with fevers, because we have a video on this YouTube anyways about that and why you should never use Tylenol or acetaminophen or try and reduce a fever in any sort of way. You want to push it out with a diaphoretic, which is her product. It's a yarrow tincture that pushes the virus, pushes everything up and out of the pores that needs to be out, and that's why the body is heating up anyways, is to get it out. So this gets it out a lot faster, and that is in my link tree, and it is her product.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. That's been a fun one to help people with.
Yeah, and also moving stagnant blood. So
yeah. Oh, and also last real quick thing on Matthew Wood, who's one of the most famous herbalists alive on the planet right now and most published. He just came out with a course that I took where he had been studying for the last 5 years how yarrow rapidly enhances intrinsic factor in the stomach, which is responsible for breaking down and absorbing B12. So all these kids with methylation issues.
Wow.
Radical enhancer of B12 blood builder. Methylation support. Interesting.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what would you recommend them taking for that? What as far as the dosage? So this will help them absorb the B12?
Big time.
Okay. What is the dosage for that, you think? Just the same dosage on the bottle?
Yeah, well, actually a little less, because we have dosage for acute situation, like cold flu, but for long-term maintenance of that would be 1 milliliter, which is about 30 drops once or twice a day.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. All right, cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Jamie. Bye, everybody.
Bye.